So welcome, everyone. We are so excited to have you. Let me just go ahead and start my amazing introductions with these two phenomenal women on here while people keep tuning in. So today's webinar is actually going to be a 4-part video series. We're going to be doing 4 or 3 more on top of this one next Monday, the following Monday, and the following Monday. So for those of you that had registered early on, you probably saw a little button saying that you could automatically subscribe to every new webinar that we present in the future. In case you missed that, don't worry. I will make sure to get you the link to register for the next one on Monday as well. But next Monday, we're digging into developing a rockstar listing strategy to get more listings, even during this tough time that we're all dealing with right now. But we felt like we needed to kick off this conversation with what's relevant at this exact second. And that is obviously COVID-19. We don't want to take this in a negative way. Obviously, lots of us are dealing, and this is impacting hundreds of thousands of people across the world. So we hope everybody's safe. But there is a positive, I think, in this that we're going to talk about today. There is a way that we can continue building our businesses, maintain relevancy, and still support and help our community. So I'm excited to have Marty and Tina on this broadcast. They are two phenomenal agents, team leaders. They're both just so happen to be with the hot new, fastest growing brokerage in the country, EXP. Just had to plug that real quick. But, they really take the front lines of what they can do differently to stand out in their market. And while lots of people are looking at this negatively and stopping business and, just pausing, they're trying to shift what they're doing and embrace what's going on and help try to continue building their business during this time. So today's going to be chocked full of ways that we can continue marketing ourselves and our business during this COVID-19 situation. So first off, let me introduce Marty Hampton, phenomenal multi-billion-dollar producer, team leader, broker owner. She's the CEO of ComingSoonHomes.com. What else? How do I even continue? There's just so much about Marty. And lots of you probably know Marty and Tina too, because both of them speak at lots of events across the country and really support, I think, the agent community as well, which is really important. And then shifting over to my wonderful Tina, she's the top 5 agents out of 9,000 agents in the Raleigh market. She has a small but mighty team with over 104 million in production just last year alone. And by the way, for those of you I know that watched TEDx, she was a speaker actually last year as well. And she is a 20-year veteran who has worked through 2 market crashes, which I know Marty has as well. So these ladies have figured out how to build their business even during the worst times in economic history. So I'm stoked to get started. You guys ready to rock and roll?
Woo, we are.
All right, let's get started. So we're going to actually start, let's open it up, guys, and let's talk about what's going on in the market. Can you guys kind of give us an update on what you're seeing with this pandemic, at least in Raleigh?
Sure. Go ahead, Marty.
No, you quit. It's like my husband and me talking about going to dinner. Where do you want to go? No, where do you want to go?
Southern gratitude.
What do you want to talk about?
I am feeling pretty good after talking to some people across the nation because we were considered an essential service. Real estate was kind of, so I feel great about that. We can still work on deals. We can still work on buyers virtually. We can still work on listings. We can still work on sales and process. So I'm feeling lucky compared to a lot of people, I think, in the States. What do you think, Tina?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. We're taking it day by day. And, it's like a nail biter. Are we going to be essential? Are we not? Are we essential? Oh, we're essential, but we don't want to go show houses because we might get the death virus. So I mean, even though we're essential, I think we're still seeing people tightening up. Sellers are potentially not wanting to show their home as many times. I'm getting sellers that have like a list of they need to wear a face mask and this, and this. And then I have other sellers that are like, whatever, just bring them in. I need to get this home sold. So I think we're just going into that shift of a little bit of craziness, and we're all just adapting to a new normal and grieving our old lives right now.
Yeah, we are grieving that because this is I have this old saying that says even a turkey can fly in a hurricane, and the hurricane was happening right before this happened. The spring market was just getting ready to really jolt. And March was looking real good, and April and May always look better, and then down the drain. So the truth is, it did affect us. It affected us. And I tell you, I had a dose of watching TV this weekend, which was a bad mistake, a very bad mistake. And I won't ever make that mistake again, because if people are on a steady diet of this 24/7 news, they're affected.
Yeah, they are. You can't walk away unaffected. I mean, just, it's like you're suicidal if you watch the news for 4 hours. The world is ending. And I think I always say there's always the doom and gloomers. The world is ending, buy a gun. And then you've got the positive patsies. Don't worry, we'll be back working and it'll all be wonderful in 30 days. And I'm in the middle. I'm prepared for the worst. I'm hoping for the best, but I've got to get my team and, in soldier mode in survival mode. And you just got to do that. Just in case.
It's telling my salespeople to come from a place of service rather than the hardcore sales that we're used to is a little bit of a change for them. We like to close deals. And so right now, I think just battening down the hatches, calling past clients, calling everybody that's active, really kind of taking care of the foundation of our business. And coming from a place of service, I think we got to show leadership at this point, not only to the community, but to our team as well.
Absolutely.
And just to kind of interject real quick, I wanted to pull this part, the statement that NAR actually brought, because just going into what you guys just said is NAR said the coronavirus pandemic is continuing to impact the real estate industry, everything from brokerage operations to how listings are being marketed, and even the ability to close transactions is requiring realtors to adapt to these extraordinary circumstances. So just like Tina and Marty said, it's going to be critical for us to not just adapt, but figure out how we can thrive in this hectic environment that's going on. And just so you guys know, I'm not sure, I'm sure Marty and Tina have heard the word too, but there is a new act that's been passed to provide a whole bunch of different relief and things. So we will provide this as a resource to all of you after the fact, but there is relief packages that are on its way. Congress has voted on a historic COVID-19 relief that has included a ton of benefits, even for realtors, that were secured, thank goodness, by NAR. So there's a whole lot more resources we'll share with you after the fact. But just a quick overview, there's a lot that's coming down the pipe for businesses that are able to retain their employees, businesses that need that unemployment insurance, et cetera. So just know there is stuff that's happening behind the scenes to help support our industry. This was kind of interesting. I wanted to get your take on this because NAR actually said this, that with every 2 home sales generating 1 job in this country, the industry will represent a key piece of our national recovery, and NAR will continue fighting for key provisions in a 4th relief package. But I mean, what are you guys doing, or do you guys have any recommendations on what agents can do to help build that community, I guess? Are you guys doing anything, connecting in any different kind of way?
For what? What do you mean? I don't understand the question.
With buyers and sellers locally, have you guys done like videos to get out the word of what you're doing?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. I mean, we have blasted out videos to our database. We're connecting with our database every single day. We've got lists of, services and things that the government's doing for people, helping them with if they're going to fall behind on their mortgage. I mean, right now we have to have as much information as possible and links to be able to give to our clients because they're looking at us as a resource. And if you don't know them, it's time to learn a little bit about the stock market, a little bit about what's going on, so you can speak wisely about those key points. For sure.
I think what's really interesting about this, and I don't know about the individual agent, but I do think it's interesting that that it's going to give, from what I understand, it's going to give loans that you don't have to pay back, which is really a gift.
Yeah.
This is the time for big teams, because I've got a payroll. I know Tina's got a payroll.
Oh yeah.
To have the chance to have that and not lay those people off is a tremendous asset for us. And on the other flip side of that, if you don't have those processes in place, you don't have the marketing team, you don't have the listing team, you don't have the closing support, you're just kind of a one-man show, and that's going to really handicap you when it comes to the surge, because there will be a comeback in this market. So.
Agreed.
Have you guys heard me kind of tidbits or have an opinion on how this could impact our industry as a whole?
Well, that's that crystal ball, that broke a couple weeks ago. I dropped it. I don't know. It's not working anymore. I mean, I've heard things from lenders that are like, this is going to be worse than 2008. Prepare. We've heard people say we're going to bounce back nicely. It's going to be 3 to 6 months. I mean, when you shut down the entire nation, no one's ever done that before. So
right.
We're waiting as a nail biter going, I hope this works out. But I think people are excited to get back to their jobs. I think we're going to see in humanity that people are going to appreciate their lives a little more when they go back to that Walmart greeter job. They're going to be like, thank God I'm back, right? They're going to be happier to be back.
And I pulled this statement and I thought it was really relevant because people are saying, just don't panic, stay informed, use your best judgment. The situation, of course, is rapidly changing, but it's critical that we focus on putting policies and procedures in place to keep your employees and agents informed, safe, and to avoid business disruption. So a couple of things we're actually going to cover today is ways you can do that, ways you can communicate with your clients, ways that you can communicate with your employees, etc. But just remember, you don't need to panic, just pivot. Right? Oh, that's pretty good. Don't panic, just pivot. So what are you guys hearing? Are you guys currently showing properties, or what's your way around it, or working with it? Let's talk about that.
Well, we're actually listing property, and we can do virtual listings as well. We've done that for people that are out of town, but I think it's a time that I would tell my agent that they could have a little bit more, they could have some security questions. We call them pre-qualifying, but you could throw in there, have you been out of the country in the last 30 days? Have you been on an airplane?
That's important.
I'm going to ask some questions. And I think to be safe and to do it the right way and to have social distancing as much as you possibly can. Truthfully, you could sit outside. You could go through a house pretty quickly and sit out on, we got such great weather, you could sit out back. So there's many things that you can do. You can, we've got plastic gloves in the office. We've got disinfectants like you cannot believe. We've got alcohol, although I'm running out of it. So we're doing a lot of things to protect our agents, but we also want to protect our sellers if they do put a home on the market, if they are one of those people that are just not concerned at all. And it's funny because I sent out an inquiry to my team recently. I said, on a scale of 1 to 10, like 1 being, I don't care about this virus, it's not affecting me, and 10, I'm in full-blown panic. Where are you? And so I got mostly within the 4 to 6 range. So I think that's, the more every day that this sets in, though, and it's on the news media, I think people get a little bit more slower when it comes to doing normal things that we've done for a long time.
Wow. And it's actually interesting. One of our attendees, Evelyn, said that some are saying that 30 to 40% of agents will get out of the business during this time. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah. Marty
you know how Marty feels.
Marty has no S in her disc. I feel a little bad. I mean, nobody wants to have hardships on people, but the reality is this. I also think about the industry as a whole, and I think the majority of agents do 4 deals. And if I'm a consumer and I'm going to list $1 million or $500,000 asset, and the person that is helping me has only sold 4 homes, I don't know that person is that qualified to do the job. And I wish that we had more restrictions and training when people are unleashed into the wild. Yes. So I think that for some, maybe they should go away. If you're only selling 2 or 3 homes a year, it's probably not the business for you. And I don't think it's a part-time gig. I just don't, unless you're selling your own home and your grandmother's home, which your poor grandmother. But yeah, I do think that we're going to see a shift because this is going to become a life event market, meaning that the people moving are going to have a life event. It's not going to be, I need a new kitchen or my bathroom's a little tight. It's going to be a death, divorce, job transfer. There's going to be some event that their motivation is going to be higher than their fear. And so we're going to have to dig deeper. We're going to have to really dig deep to get those sellers and buyers to the table.
Yeah, I think that's really true. It is a life-changing event. You know, life was never the same after 9/11. Think about that, flying after 9/11.
Yes.
How many times do you even remember flying before 9/11? It was a lot easier.
Yeah.
So there's life's going to change. I like to think about the positive things that could actually happen. You know, they might actually do something to airplanes to make them more hygienic. You know, I mean, there's some positive things that could happen too. So
yeah, well, people are going to definitely be washing their hands more.
Thank goodness. They should have been doing that anyways.
I'm afraid the American handshake, you know, I have fear for its future.
It's gone. I was listening to a doctor where he said years ago they got rid of when the doctor walks in the room and shakes your hand, and they got rid of that for that reason. I do think people are going to be more conscious of their cleanliness and their homes. And I'm one of the weirdos that touches a doorknob and has and I've always been that way. When I leave a seller's house, I am, I'm cleaning up. So.
And I just want to make a quick disclaimer. So obviously the regulations for what's going on right now and then pertaining to the industry, what you can and can't do, you do need to follow your local regulations. Marty and Tina both serve the Raleigh market, so they are specifically abiding by those regulations, but it really just will depend and come down to where you're physically serving your real estate customers. So just keep that in mind. Just needed to put a little disclaimer out there and then push forward from there. So let's move on to the next one. There are lots of different options on how you can move around and work through this little bit of a different transition. So there are 3 different ways. I know Marty and Tina both do these, is virtual open houses. They're super popular now. Tina, do you use anything in particular for virtual open houses?
It's funny because we weren't doing them before. I felt like as an industry, I mean, buyers could see everything from every angle, typically, unless you did Matterport, which we do. Virtual staging, we do that too, or our stager now is doing everything virtually. But yeah, I mean, the virtual open houses, some of my agents have been posting them and using a 360 camera, and that's been fun too. But, again, I don't know that will become the norm. I think people are still going to want to visit houses, feel them, touch them, and maybe for the interim it'll work. But I don't know that we're going to have to keep that on the list.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also think that depends on what market you're in. I know one of the agents, Thomas Wall, you guys know him. He actually had a buyer. Thank goodness he had the Matterport on his listing a couple months ago, because the buyer in Canada was looking for an investment in Raleigh, and they didn't even need to come and physically touch the property in order to make that offer. And so there's a lot of value, even I think after all this stuff subsides, for the right listing, obviously, in the right price range, right location to do that kind of a thing. But I know there are vendors out there that are still working, they're still in business, so you can still reach out to small businesses to help you with these Matterports, help you with these pictures. Marty's team actually does a lot with video in her listings. So one of the agents will record their own selfie video talking about the listing, and we can overlay that on top of a picture slideshow. So guess what? The agent didn't have to go anywhere, and we're still promoting and maximizing that listing during this crazy hectic time. So technology can be pretty phenomenal sometimes.
Absolutely.
So, and there are a couple companies like Clurd. They do offer on-demand open houses. IMO Viewer offers video tours, and I think a lot of us are very familiar with BombBomb. BombBomb is very popular for quick snippet videos that you want to get out to customers from there. Now, on to Expections. Have you guys heard anything about what's going on with Expections? Are they still working in your area, or?
I know they're working in ours, right, Marty? I know my inspector's still working.
Yeah, there is some that have opted out, but then you have some that are still working. So yeah, it's kind of a case by case thing. But we're still able to close out the deal, and that's part of what we do. But I think for the agent, for us as leaders in this, the ability to manage our own state of mind throughout this is not forever. It may seem like forever for a personality like me, but it's not forever, even if it's a month.
Right.
Heaven forbid, even if it's 2 months, it's not forever.
Yeah, I heard that San Francisco, they're actually doing inspections. They were just deemed, and California agents are now deemed essential, so they all celebrated yesterday.
Yeah.
But they're doing an inspection. They're posting the inspection. They're putting an as-is price, and they're using Matterport. and offers are still coming in sight unseen over there because
That's awesome.
it's hard. And I thought of you, Marty, because you do that as well.
Well, we could really have a ball with that in especially some of our high demand price ranges. We could really probably get some mileage out of that.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Jenny on our chat said she actually just had an inspection today. Monica said her husband is an inspector and he's very, very busy right now. So,
yeah.
So stuff is not pausing by any means. It's going to continue moving forward. So it's all about how we shift with this hecticness. So I actually heard, I had to put this on the slide deck because I heard you two talking a few days ago about signs. There's a lot of agents that are like, should we put signs up? Should we take them down? Should we do X or Y? What's you guys' take?
I'm leaving them up.
I'm leaving them up. Yeah. Yeah. And only because we're essential. I mean, if they shut us down, we were thinking if they deem us non-essential, is it wise to keep our listings up and have buyers view them, over and over and over again? Then by the time we're able to show again, they're stale. So we were running through all the scenarios in our mind, but the reality is, yes, showings have been cut by 70%, but there's still 30% of the buyers looking, and you only need one. So
this is local, but locally, Tina, we just found a loophole for you can go active. Yeah, I'm going to tell you about it. Because, I'm using it on my own house. You can go active for 48 hours, and you will accrue days on the market for those 2 days. But then you can go back to off the market. So if you were active like any 2 days of the week, what would that be? Maybe Friday and Saturday, huh?
Yeah, Friday and Saturday or Saturday and Sunday. Yeah, because people aren't going to church anymore, so they can go look at houses.
Yeah.
That's true.
Right?
True story.
Yep. Now, I know this one will definitely depend on where you are at, but I think talking about that virtual idea like Tina had implemented, are agents, or should they still be going to buyer and seller appointments? So we talked a little bit about this, but what are your teams currently doing? How have you guys shifted accordingly?
Well, we're doing everything that we can virtually, but sometimes it is absolutely essential to go to the house. And so the individual agent is going to use safety measures and go to the house. Especially when it comes to taking pictures and things like that, to put it on coming soon. So,
yep. And actually, I had seen one of your agents, Marty. She actually pre-recorded like a screen grab video talking to her seller client saying, hey, seller, just wanted to check in so you can see me, feel me, talk to me. And she walked him through. She shared her screen with the seller and said, here's the current comps. I mean, she walked him through everything just like she was right in front of him. And I mean, that kind of level of shift, your clients will be ecstatic to see that you're innovating versus just dying with what's going on. You're continuing to push forward and find ways around it while still keeping that personal, appeal, I think, with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we've been doing virtual appointments for a long, long time because we're such a transient market. We talk with sellers in California that have investment property here. Well, they're not going to fly in to meet us. So we've always had Zoom meetings with them. We're just doing them more now. Yeah. And it's funny because I thought about, as I was growing as an agent before I had a team, my max capacity was 130 deals. And it was only because I grew a team because I couldn't get to enough sellers. I didn't have enough time in the day. And now I'm starting to rethink that, going, well, I could go on 5 or 6 of these Zooms because I'm not in the car. And that saves an hour and a half per appointment. So I think that it's just so efficient. And if you're a seasoned agent, you've seen one, you've seen them all. So, I mean, as long as you walk them through the house, the only thing I can't pick up on is if it smells like dog.
That's true.
That I can't pick up on.
We need to send that over to Apple and have them start beta testing that feature.
Test. I'm going to send you this test. Yeah.
What should we do with active listings on the market? I think there's a discussion to be had about the benefit of listing a home now. I think if you do it carefully, because you can't pressure anybody. I think they're scared to death and they're in a panic mode. You're not going to be able to do that. But there are people that this is the time of the year, guys, when everybody was planning on moving. Right when those kids got out of school, and guess what? The kids are at home now, and they remember why they needed the bigger house that they remembered. So I think there's a great conversation to be had. Why would we want to go ahead and list our home now? What would be the advantage? What would be the disadvantage? And I think I could make a case for there's a strong advantage to have everything done, because when the buyers march back onto the stage, and believe me, they will, if you wait till that point when everybody says it's okay and you can do everything now, you're late. It's like I've always said, if you want to know what's happening in the market, by the time you hear it, if you're outside of a very high producing team, it's already been happening for months.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And see, and this is where I love, since we're partnered together, and she's allowed me now to use the Coming Soon Homes platform. So a lot of our listings too, we actually talk to the seller and say, hey, we can park you right here. And like you said, get you ready, get your painter in. I have painters in houses right now, getting them prepped for market for the time that they're released. And so if you have a platform, you can showcase these homes to a buyer. That's a great avenue too. So right. Love that.
Right.
I love that. And one of our great clients out of Tallahassee, Florida, Joe Manusa, he actually just said what Tina said, is he's like, this is the best place for me to park my sellers on during whatever. And this was before the COVID-19 stuff, right. But even in a regular market, I mean, there will be sellers that need repairs. It does take a couple days, sometimes a week, depending on how backed up your photographer is, to get those pictures. So why not maximize that time period to promote that listing as coming soon? And yes, disclaimer, every market's different with those regulations too, but there are ways to work with it. I mean, there's been a lot of chatter. Everybody knows about the clear cooperation policy that NAR passed down, but all they were trying to do is curb pocket listings. They wanted every agent to have access to the same information at the same time. And I think that's a great thing.
Yeah.
It's annoying as an agent, I'm sure, to run around trying to find new listings in 12 different places. And so this is a valuable thing, but you're still going to need somewhere online to park your sellers, to build that interest, to drive leads to your business. And Marty says it all the time, right? That this is like the first cut of your leads. Can you kind of emphasize on that?
Well, I think the first time anything happens, the first impression, you just never get a second chance to make a first impression. And so it's worked for me really, really well all of these years to kind of hold it back until we put our makeup on, until we really are. We don't go to a party the same way we crawl out of bed Saturday morning. We look a little different.
Oh, yeah.
We go to the party. So, I really think that is huge for sellers to understand that. So it's worked beautifully well, and I want it to continue. Oh, and one thing I want to say for sure is that in our area, it's 30 days. You have a 30-day grace period, and that's a perfect coming soon period of time. But in our area also, they're relaxing all of the dates. They've relaxed the date for CE. They've relaxed the date for coming soon. It used to be 30 days. They've extended everything. So COVID-19 has changed all the dates. So you might well have that in other areas instead of just ours.
Yeah, that's awesome, because I think it will open up a lot of eyes, because even before COVID-19, Marty, I remember having conversations with you like, well, what if my seller, the whole family gets the flu? Right. Do we still let everybody open in that house and everybody's sick, And so there will probably be more changes to come in MLSs across the country based on what's going on right now. So I think everybody's got to kind of stay in tune with what's changing. So there are a ton of different ways to continue promoting your business during COVID-19, but I think there's smart ways to do it and wrong ways to do it right now. And so just to roll through a few, I can't talk. Getting on video is one thing we have talked about a ton already today, whether it's YouTube, Facebook. I mean, where else are you on video, Tina?
I mean, that's basically it. YouTube, making short videos for your clients, maybe doing an interview and on Zoom and filming, an interaction with a seller that has gone through the experience behind the scene. That may be a great video, and ask the seller permission to send that to other sellers and say, hey, can I just show them, what we're doing behind the scenes. So just be creative and show sellers that it's okay. And people are going to, they're comforted knowing that other people like them are out there doing what they want to do. Just like when you buy in a new neighborhood, usually you're a little nervous if you're the first or second home, but if there's 5 or 6 or 7, there's proof of concept. You're like, okay, I think I can move here. So I think if once sellers and buyers see that the world hasn't ended, this kind of is our new normal, I think you're going to see more people get off the fence. as they get bored with their children in their homes.
Or B. I think you've got the luxury of time now that you've never had.
Yes.
You just got the luxury of time. So you on Coming Soon Homes, I know you can ask the seller, what do you love about this neighborhood? He can say you can't say as an agent.
Right.
Tell me about the club, tell me about the golf course, whatever. What's the closest place you go shopping here? Those kind of things people love to know. And we have the ability to give more information on the Coming Soon Home than we would on regular MLS.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And actually, we just got a really important message that just came in. But Barbara Wonderly just said, it literally just came in through TMLS. It says, this is a reminder, April 1st, MLS will be updating the rules that affect listing entry, office exclusive, and Coming Soon listings. So there is a whole lot more information, at least for the Triangle real estate market, that will be changing thanks to this new development. Anything else on video, ladies, that you want to touch on?
Keep doing it. Keep doing it.
Email marketing. Now, I love this because I think that some people think that email marketing is dead and some people think it isn't. And I think it's kind of a toss-up depending on what it is. But I think email marketing, especially right now, is a great way to connect with your customers. Do you guys do email marketing for your businesses?
We do. We do. Yeah. I mean, we don't do a ton of it because we like to call out. We're mainly phone-based, but we do drip campaigns and little things like that.
Yep. And I know Marty recently sent actually a very personal kind of letter out to her database. And, it's really interesting when a leader gets behind and personally writes something out, not her marketing team behind the scenes or anything, but she's coming out and saying, here's what we're doing to impact these changes. Here's how it's impacting my business. And I'm here for you. I mean, that's all she said. She's like, this is not salesy. I'm not trying to get you to buy or sell with me. She's like, just call me if you need me. We'll see if we can find a way to help. And I think the response was great from that because you become a trusted source.
Well, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's like I watch some of the realtors out there like, don't worry, homes are still selling and it's rah-rah. And it's like, yeah, homes are selling, but there's 70% less showings. There's going to be some buyers that back out of deals. If you're an agent right now and you haven't had a buyer back out of the deal, you're not doing enough transactions.
And it's not business as usual.
Right.
It's not. It's different. And you got to be equipped for that. And that's where I think the team really is going to dominate during this period of time because, real estate, if you really think about it, real estate should never be done just by one individual agent. I'm sorry, but they can do a few deals a year, but they're not going to do the masses. And, until you're selling a lot of homes, it's hard to get the pulse of what's happening on the streets. I mean, really, is an agent that sells 4 homes or even 10 a year, do they know what an agent that's selling 300 a year knows? I don't think so.
Or even 30 or 40.
You got it.
Yeah. I mean, it's if you're selling 30 or 40 homes, you've got a really decent pulse on the market.
Yeah. And the pulse on the market is kind of like critical mass. It all happens at one time. The market tempo changes and people think when you talk to them sometimes that the market's the way it was 6 months ago and it changes daily. It's just like the stock market. You just don't see it on the ticker tape.
That's right.
And Jessica actually made a really good point. For any agents that are on the feed that are with the EXP brand, you guys have this awesome system called KV Core. I've actually been seeing some agents chatting back and forth online about these KV Core campaigns they're running within the system. And they said, guess what? They're working. I think there's a lot of brands. Even I know Remax has some great tools and technology out there that you can implement, but use the tools that your brand is giving you, or why are you paying for that brand in the first place, And so there's a lot that you can do with social media, with email marketing, with video. Social media is the same thing. Right now, this is before all the COVID-19, but in the US, the average person spends about 3 hours a day on social media. So why is your business not on social media being the forefront of what's going on, how you can help people, how you can help change their lives with buying or selling? So, and there's multiple platforms out there. I mean, and they're free.
Right.
At least for now.
Absolutely. I even thought about our team, just some of the couple neighborhoods around us, we could possibly send out postcards that say, scan this barcode for a free virtual listing appointment or a free value, assessment on your home, or just, text this. Just think outside the box. What is someone stuck in their home gonna be thinking about? So Marty should be doing that with her few neighborhoods that she loves to target, and we're going to be doing that. We're just trying to all think outside the box as we work together, because there's enough business for everyone, even when we come back, but it's going to be a different business.
Right.
It's going to be a different business.
Yes, I agree.
And you had said a little scan code, and it's funny because actually earlier today we got a postcard in the mail from OfferPad, and it says, "We'll give you." I should have brought it because Marty would have loved it, but it's good. I mean, and it shows the partial amount that they could give you and that kind of a thing. And so, Marty and Tina, I think both of you probably have a good feeling on where you're at. You guys have been in one of the toughest markets, I think, in the country, slammed with iBuyer programs and options. I mean, how have you guys kind of combated or worked with that? What's your opinion on those iBuyers?
They don't bother me, like I bring them on, if you want to sell your home for 30% less or 20% less, call an iBuyer. I mean, that's the reality. Right, Marty? I mean, I know you.
That is the reality, but what we're doing right now is we actually, I'll share it with you. We've got an addendum that we will shop the iBuyers in your behalf, and we'll actually negotiate for you. And we've done that successfully with Zillow Offers and with Open Door. So we know that, it's just like a car lot. If a car lot is suffering and they don't have enough cars on it, they'll give you a pretty good deal on your car. But if they're overstocked, they're not going to give you very much. And I know that Open Door has reneged on an offer that I know of just recently, probably because of the COVID-19. So, gee, that was sad.
That is sad. Yeah, they shut down all their iBuyer programs because they're afraid of the virus. Sure.
So the real deal is you need an agent that's working for you on the other side of the deal, not one that's working for Open Door that wants to get your house for as low as possible. So if you want to shop the investors in town, come on, let's shop them all. Let's don't be shy.
Absolutely. I mean, if you want to give your home away, I'm an investor.
Hey.
I'm an iBuyer too.
Oh my goodness. So now real quick, I want to jump to Coming Soon Homes. Tina's team actually just recently came on our platform. We are so excited to have her. Marty has actually developed this system for what, Marty? It's been over 6 years now? Yep. And we are national. So we not only have a US based national site, but we have a Canadian national site for those of you that are in Canada right now. But I think one of the easiest ways to explain this is, especially during times like this, there are sellers who are not ready to open their doors yet for showings. And I would probably assume, I mean, what do you guys think? Does it happen more than not? I mean, do you typically walk into a house and it's ready for showings?
No.
Okay.
Rarely.
Sometimes it's ready for showings.
Yeah. That's the key. And so you need somewhere to start building that interest. I mean, I've been walking around this neighborhood I'm in now, and I see these little coming soon signs. And, if I have a family member in that neighborhood, I might want to have them live near me. And so every little piece that you can do to begin building that interest works. Marty loves when she talks about Apple and the new iPhone, about how they pre-market that new iPhone months in advance, telling you all these great features, but you're not going to get them yet. It's frustrating, right? But that's what builds those lines at midnight for those release dates, for that new product. And so this is the same thing with real estate. And what is your take? Because I get a lot of questions with coming soon listings that, a lot of properties are flying too fast, so they don't need coming soon. What's your answer to that?
You always need coming soon. I don't care if you've got the hottest neighborhood, the hottest price range, you always need coming soon, because how else could you really be sure that you had the person that will pay the highest price? And isn't it the best price, best terms? Or, somebody may be more interested in fast closing, somebody may be more interested in cash, but unless you take a little bit of time, and when I'm saying a little bit of time, I'm talking about 2 weeks is probably minimum. 2 weekends. I think in the height of our season, we've been known to do it in 10 days. But you just got to do that in order to get all the buyers to the table, instead of just the first one that has to be trolling MLS. He's not the one. He may not be the one that's going to give you the highest price. He may be the one that's the deal maker. He may be looking for the deal. So I think in the seller's best interest, you do hold it back just a little bit until you can make sure that you've got some saturation. A great agent such as Tina, she's got a database full of people that are mulling around out there that are active in the market looking for homes, and she takes time to share her coming soon listings with them. She's going to have more eyeballs on her listing than she's ever going to have it than just dumping it in MLS.
Well, and it's great for buyers too that are, they're just saying, well, what else do you have to show me?
Exactly.
I think that's the big one. It's like that. Yeah, it's good for sellers, but if you can bring a buyer to a platform where you have proprietary information on homes that are coming soon, that's also a great way to earn the trust and give value back to a buyer that thinks we're just door openers, right?
Yes, absolutely. I think that I've handled coming soon homes for so many different situations. I've handled it for people who were building a home out of state. And so it just was a perfect solution because they only wanted one time to move. And if you've got a little bit of time to prepare in a great market such as we had and we will have again, you can get pretty much what the seller wants. And isn't that what it's all about? Instead of having to negotiate so much, you say, hey, I want to close at the end of August this year. And you can find that buyer that will satisfy that need.
And we actually just got a comment that coming soon is not allowed in their MLS. And that is true. There are some out there that do not allow it. To be honest, I've done a lot of the research on a lot of the largest MLSs. 2 out of the 3 largest MLSs completely allow coming soon marketing. The third, you can work with it, but it gets a little bit more trickier. And so there is a disclaimer with coming soon marketing. It all depends on your local regulations, what your MLS is telling you to do. You got to stay compliant. We are at no point are telling you to go out and be by yourself and get some fines tacked up. That's not what we're telling you, but this is in the best interest of your seller. I've learned that over and over and over with Marty. And, it's amazing some of the results that we've seen with this program, because I think a lot of agents, they do Facebook marketing, they do email campaigns, they do postcards. Well, where are you going to drive all that traffic back to when people don't want to pick up the phone, which sadly in today's age is that probably a little bit of a majority, especially millennials like me. We'd prefer to talk to a robot for whatever reason. But, this is a very powerful thing that you can drive this traffic to, so they can continue to get updates even on those listings while you continue building that property's profile. And we try to make it easy as possible for you. But all in all, it will connect you with other buyers and sellers across the United States. If you're in Canada, across Canada as well, since we have 2 separate sites. But for any of you guys on today's webinar, Marty gave me the lowdown, and she told me, Deborah, we got to do something for these agents right now because we are all in the thick of it during this COVID-19 process. And a lot of you probably have sellers. You guys are probably still talking and having appointments and making calls. And these sellers are like, I want to list, but I'm nervous. What do we do? Well, guess what? Here is your solution. You can pre-list your seller's listings online, start building that buyer interest until a little bit of this passes, until we at least have a better feel of what the heck's going to go on. But why not maximize this time period instead of minimize it or miss out on it completely? Anything else you guys would probably add to this?
I've heard the objections so many times that my MLS doesn't allow it. And usually they do allow some type of something that would accommodate coming soon. They do an office exclusive, maybe they do a withheld listing with no showings, and we've never been in the market. We've never shown our coming soon listings, unlike other people there. So there's usually a way to do it, or you could be like my good friend Amy out of Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and just take them to court. She won.
Well, and Marty, I think there's a point to that, though. I mean, why should you not show your listing while it's coming soon? I think that's a big question a lot of agents struggle with.
Well, if you show your listing while it's a coming soon listing, that benefits you. And this is to benefit your seller. If you're in business to benefit yourself, you're not going to stay in business very long. You better figure out how to benefit your principal, whether it's a buyer or whether it's a seller. We work in their interest, not in our own.
And really, it's just marketing. I mean, your job as a marketer to market these listings, to create demand. As long as you're not breaking the rules and letting people come in and out of them and see them, I don't think there's anything wrong with saying, hey, this is coming soon. They're getting it ready. But in the interim, you can, here's a little sneak peek. I mean, I just, again, don't see how that's breaking a rule.
Yeah.
Control.
It's all about control.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
But if for anybody that's attending right now, if you have questions, I actually just talked to one of our Coming Soon Homes clients a few weeks ago, and they had changes to their MLS policies. But the interesting thing is they thought that they weren't going to be able to do it at all. All I did was pick up the phone, called their MLS, had to talk to a few people to get the answers I needed, but I worked my way down the pike, and guess what? They're totally compliant. It's just you have to find the right avenues, the right paperwork, the right terminology to get what you need done. So a lot of the time it's just asking a couple questions and talking to the right person. So if you have questions, if you don't even know where to begin with getting those questions answered, jot in the chat with us real quick. Give us your name, your email address, and what your MLS name is. We'll do the work for you. I personally will call these MLSs up and see what's going on, see how we can help you do this, because your sellers will continue with you for life if you have programs like this that separate you from the average Joe agent on the street. And so Marty wants to offer Coming Soon Homes for free for any agent right now for 90 days. 90 days. So 90 days is a great amount of time to start building that inventory. Park your sellers on here somewhere comfortable where they don't have to worry about showing their homes yet. And again, if you got questions with your local MLS, just drop your name, drop your MLS name and your email in the chat, and I will find them and have a conversation. So,
do the heavy lifting.
Yep, exactly. So does anybody else have any questions? Let me just kind of roll through this real quick. What is the Coming Home Soon? We don't have that here in Canada. Actually, Kristen, you do. We do have a Canadian version. It's called ComingSoonHomesCanada.com. That's our national Canadian site. And then we have ComingSoonHomes.com, which is the US-based national site. So, Kristen, I'll link up with you afterwards and show you what we're all about. And also, for those of you agents that might want to continue pushing your business, I had a great conversation with Tina about, pushing forward during this time versus recruiting during this time. And so for those of you that might be interested in getting social media assistance as well, drop your information in the chat, because we have some solutions you will want to know about, especially right now during this time period. So if you guys have any questions for us, keep dropping them in the chat. Gina said that West Pennsylvania MLS does not allow Coming Soon. Gina, I will link up with you on that. Let me see here. Any other questions? Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Kristen. Perfect. I'm getting some of you guys interested in Coming Soon, which is great. And I know Barbara Wonderland, I'm not sure if you guys know her, but she said she's super anxious to learn everything. She's been wanting to learn a lot about the KV4 system. So I know there's a lot of chatter about that system as well. Awesome, awesome. Well, guys, if you have any other questions, please continue dropping them in the chat. We're going to continue this. We will have a live replay. It will be shot into everybody who attended emails right afterwards. And don't forget, next Monday, April 6th, we're going to talk specifically about how to develop a rockstar listing strategy. This is a fresh take on listings, a new way to innovate, especially in a market that we're dealing with right now. So don't forget to register for that. Stay tuned on our social media. Anything else from you two?
Thank you, Deborah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
You are welcome.
Thank you for tuning in.
Absolutely. You guys have a good one. See ya. Bye-bye.